page here. I've noticed that with Be Live, it takes just a few seconds for us to all be on the same. No, I don't want to reload that. I'm still learning these things, guys. I'm still learning these things. Let me go over here and reload this so I don't turn myself off. So I'm hoping that you guys can hear me today. I know last week we had some technical difficulties. So I'm just waiting to see my face pop up here. Oh, there we are. There's I am's. All right. And I see Mary's on, so hopefully Mary will tell me if there's any technical difficulties this time around. So hello, everyone, and welcome to Indie Strong. I am your host, Jennifer McMurrian, and today I smell like peanut butter. I do. I do believe that is an occupational hazard. Oh, yay, Mary says that she can hear and see me, so thumbs up. We've started off well. Yeah, I put my son to bed, and I swear he was covered in peanut butter, and I'm just going to be really honest with you. I was like, nope, I'm not changing. I'm going to go live, and I'm going to smell like peanut butter, and it'll probably make me hungry through the whole entire thing, but that's okay. That's okay. I'll just put my little cardigan on. You won't see my peanut butter. If I didn't tell you, you wouldn't even know now, would you? Yeah, anyway. This is Indie Strong, helping us become stronger indie authors together. So please just take 1 second and hit that like, laugh, love button, or on Facebook, or the thumbs up on YouTube. And as always, sharing is caring. So please just take a second just to share this so other people can see it as well. Mary's saying she can smell my peanut butter. There are worse things to smell like. That's all I'm going to say to that. So this week I got a note from somebody asking me why I was going over how to write in my Indie Strong lives instead of stuff like marketing and business practices. And it's a really good question. And the answer is very, very simple. You cannot be a successful independent author if you do not write good books. I can tell you all the things I do to sell books. I can tell you all the things I do to keep my business from being a chaotic mess. But if you don't write a good story, if you don't put out quality work, then everything else is kind of all for naught. So that is step one. It is just that easy and it is just that hard. That's step one. There are 4 things that you need in order to be Indie Strong. And those 4 things are quality, which is what we're going over now, quantity, marketing, and resilience. And we'll go over all 4 of those in this Indie Strong series. So I'm beginning at the beginning, quality. Regardless of whether you're looking to go traditional, hybrid, or independent, you have to write a quality book. That is step 1. And I know a lot of you that are watching, you already write great stuff. I do. I know this. I've read your stuff. I've enjoyed your stuff. It is my hope that you'll stick with me as I talk about quality writing, and it is my double hope that you'll learn a new trick or two to becoming a stronger writer, an even stronger writer. So today I want to talk about characters. And it is really important when writing a good story that you have, pardon me, it's that pollen again, you guys. It's going to get me. Let me just get a little taste of my sweet beverage here. I knew it was going to happen. It's been happening all morning. I've been trying to get the gunk out. I even took medicine, and I'm really not an allergy medicine person, but I really took some this morning, hoping that it would clear all the pollen out of my brain. It has not. So anyway. Okay, so what we're talking about was characters. When you're writing a good story, it's really important that you have 3-dimensional characters. Your characters need, when your reader reads the stories, they need to believe that these characters are alive in some place. They need to really feel these characters. So that's what we're going to talk about today. There are 3 different types of characters that every story needs in order for it to work. There's the protagonist, which is your hero or heroine, the antagonist, which is your villain, and there are supporting characters that help move the story along. I'm sorry, this is going to be a thing. Silly pollen. If we didn't need you to keep the trees, to keep the oxygen, pollen. It's like, who needs oxygen anyway? All right. So we want these 3-dimensional characters to help move the story along. You're just going to have to deal with my raspy voice today, I guess. So now it's important that you choose the right kind of characters for each position. Not only do they have to fit the part of your story, but they also have to be interesting. Your reader has to like your main character. If a reader does not like a main character, then they're going to put that book down. They're not going to root for them. So the character has to be likable. That does not mean that they're not going to have flaws. Every character should have flaws in one way or another, but they still have to be likable in one way or another. Yes, Danny, Coke is my supporting character. Hello, Liz. It's good to see you. Gosh, I wish I could get this. I'm going to try water. Oh, water. Who would have thought, huh? I can't believe I'm so today. Of course, it's a Wednesday. Why not be yucky today? All right, so characters. They have to be interesting. They have to be likable in some way or another. Your reader has to want to root for them. If I pick up a book and I don't like the main character, it's not likely I'm going to finish the book. And there are so many great books out there that it's really hard for me to finish a book that I don't like. So I've really got to the point in my reading life where I just put a book down. If I don't like it, I just put a book down. I'm going to read another one. There's great books out there. So that is a really not Pollyanna, but they have to be likable. They have to have flaws. They have to be human or human-esque in attributes. Because I know not everybody writes human characters. I'm getting kind of off my point here, but they do have to. The reader has to root for them for one reason or another. So write characters kind of how you would choose friends. They should be people, and again, I use that word loosely, that interest you. Someone that would catch your eye in a crowded room. What is it about that person that interests you? Is it the fact that they're spouting off all their opinions? Yes, Sherry Lynn, Pauline is my antagonist today. I can't, this is driving me nuts. Okay, so we were talking about people that would catch your brain, people that interest you. Is it a person that is so blatantly telling everybody their opinion, even though we all know it's wrong, but they don't even bat an eye at the facts? Is it the person that is standing in the back of the room, kind of reading the room before she engages? Is it the guy over there who could care less about being there and is basically doodling a state on his kneecap? I mean, what is it about these people that you want to get to know better? That's how you would pick people to participate in a party with, but it's also how you would pick your characters. They need to be people that interest you in one way or another. Now, you can base characters on somebody that you know. Doing this can be an advantage because if you know a person, you know the person, and so it would be easy to write about them. It would be easy to put in their habits and their quirks of that person. But your character should never be the carbon copy of that person. For example, in Quell Crossings, one of my characters, Evelyn, in the first book, she's a brat. There's no skirting around it. She is a brat. And so when I needed traits of a bratty 14-year-old and what that girl would do when she was scolded or mad, I turned to the two people that I saw at that age when they were scolded and mad, and that would be my sisters. I saw them. I saw the way that they acted when they got in trouble and saw their tampering tantrums. And so it was very easy for me to go and take from that. So when Evelyn is mad, she exhibits the same habits as my older sister, Brandy. Now, being that this was my first book, and Brandy and I, when we were that age, we didn't get along. I am so happy that we have grown past that and we get along splendidly now. But at that time, at that age, when we were both teenagers, we did not get along. We both wanted our way and only our way, and we were both very stubborn. I know, me stubborn? What? No. Yes, totally. Mm-hmm. If my husband was in the background, he'd be like, guys, yeah. So anyway, I really gave Evelyn Brandy's traits when she was mad. And so when Brandy read the book, she thought that's how I looked at her today. Like, I looked at her as being a brat. And thankfully, since we are at a good place, I could explain, no, this is my first book, and I was just writing what I knew. I was writing what I'd seen growing up. I do not think you are a brat. And thankfully, she was like, okay, I get it now. But I mean, it was a very awkward position to be in, and I really hated that I had unintentionally hurt her feelings so badly. And so I was really glad that we were able to work that out. So if you're going to use somebody that you know, you can use a trait like, I talk with my hands. So I could use talking with my hands, but I wouldn't want to also use the fact that I'm constantly pulling my hair out of my face either, or then I kind of ramble and say, okay, and so much, because if I was reading that, I'd be like, oh, that's me. Why did that person write that about me? And then every negative trait, I would think, oh, that person feels that way about me. So just be careful that you're not writing a carbon copy of the person. I like to do is take attributes from a whole bunch of different people and kind of squish them together into a character. I really like to build my characters from scratch now. That way, it doesn't inadvertently hurt somebody's feelings, because trust me, you don't want to do that. And as my writing goes on and I'm learning to write better, and trust me, the more you write, the better you'll get. This week, I was editing, I guess it was last week. They're all running together now, aren't they? Last week, I finished content editing a book that I had written the rough draft like 5 years ago, and it was just collecting cyber dust. I was like, I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to get it done. It's a story that I like. And it was almost painful to edit, because I could see how much my writing has grown in just the 5 years between that rough draft and the content edits. And I've been writing for 10 years now, pretty religiously. And so, I mean, I even Quell Crossings, I think, gosh, I don't go back and read it, because I'm kind of afraid, because that was written almost, well, it was published like, I think 8 years ago. So yeah, so writing definitely grows as you practice, like with anything else. But you can make a character from scratch, and you just take what you need as far as attitude, good habits, bad habits, quirks, and of course their physical attributes, and you build your own person. And like I said, it's really great to mix and match items that of people and then just throw in some kind of strange thing like they hate ketchup, something like that. The most important part when you are building these characters is to know your character's backstory. Now, when I say this, I'm talking about your protagonist, your antagonist, and your supporting characters. I'm not talking about the cashier that checks them out one time and you never see them again. We don't really need to see her backstory. We don't need to know the mailman's backstory if all he does is drop a letter in the mailbox. I'm talking about your protagonist, antagonist, and your supporting characters. You need to know their backstories. Even if your supporting characters are very much minor, you do still kind of need to know why they do what they do. And so the way to do this, the way to build your backstory, is to interview your characters. And that's a really good way of finding the voice of each character. Now, we're talking feature article here. You need to go deep. You need to ask deep, dark, hard-hitting questions. You can ask the fluff stuff like, what is their favorite color? But you really need to know what really drives each character. And don't tell me that you're too old to pretend to interview your characters, because the writing is all about pretending. You can find questionnaires online by Googling character sketch questionnaire. You can find a whole bunch. They vary in length. I really like the Novel Factory's questions. And I also like that their site has some guidelines on some do's and don'ts about when doing this. For example, have fun with it. It's not supposed to be like uptight. You're supposed to have some fun with it, but you don't need to ask every question of every single character. That's what I call productive procrastination. And you feel like you're actually doing something, but you're actually just wasting time. So I am super good at productive procrastination, let me tell you. And you may ask these characters questions and they may answer them, and that item may never go into the book, but it will still help you build their voice and build their backstory so that you know what their motivation is, so that when you're writing, you can put that in there. You can put that tone into that character. And that's one of the ways that it helps to be three-dimensional and not two-dimensional. The most important thing that you need to know about each and every one of those characters, and again, the main three, and you're going to have more than one supporting character, but I'm thinking the three types, you need to know what every single character needs. Each character has to want or need something, and I mean really, really want that thing, even if it's just a glass of water. The whole reason a person reads a story to the end is to see if their character gets what they want or need in the end. That's the other reason they have to be likable. If you don't like that main character, then you really don't care if they get what they want or need in the end. And again, when I say likable, I'm not saying not flawed. because every character should be flawed in some way, because that's what makes us human. And again, that's what makes it a 3D character. If your character is two-dimensional and they're just Pollyanna and they never have a problem and they do everything perfectly, you're probably not going to want to read that. You're probably going to be like, well, her life is perfect. Why am I reading this? I'm going to move on to something else. Let me go see what Lemony Snicket is doing to those kids today. Because let me tell you, he puts them through the ringer. Okay. So once you figure out your character's personality and what they really, really want and need, then you need to do a character sketch of what they look like, their physical appearance. In a separate document or in your writing journal, write down what each character physically looks like, their hair color, eye color, body type, complexion, nervous habits. If I was writing a character about me, again, I would put that she talks with her hands all the time, because I do. I'm like that mattress guy who's always going like this with the mattresses trying to sell. If you haven't seen the commercial, I just look like a big idiot right there. But if you've seen the commercial, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, he's always just like waving his hands, like, come get a mattress. And I'm just like, I'm not buying a mattress from that guy. Sorry, that is not advertising that appeals to me. So anyway, write down all of those attributes. And you want to put it in like a different, I don't have my writing journal like right beside me, which is, I have my like kind of a different journal, my Word journal basically, but you want to have it in a separate document so that you don't have to like scroll back through your manuscript in order to find whether or not you gave your heroine blue eyes or green eyes. You want it to be super easy, super fast to find, so you're not wasting time looking up those details. If you don't know what your character looks like, if you need a little help with that, peruse the internet. Gosh, we live in such a great time right now where we can just peruse the internet when we need to. Type in the certain type of person that you're looking for on Pinterest or in Google Images. I always think, like, what actor or actress would I want to play that character when it's turned into a movie? You know, kind of who would I want? Who portrays that what I have in my mind the best? It's probably not going to be 100%, but who portrays it the best? Because for me, I know that those details in what the person looks like and the setting, those are actually the hardest for me to write. And that's probably where I fall the shortest when I'm writing, is I just don't get very detailed in what the characters look like, or actually the actual like firm setting. So I leave a lot of that to the reader's imagination, and that's something that I could get better at. So it's something that I work on. And so that's why it's really helpful to me to have a picture of an actor or an actress, or even a stock photo of somebody who kind of appeals to me as what that character would look like. That helps me to write them better and describe them better. My character sketches are all done on PowerPoint, but again, you can use your writing journal. You can use just a binder. If you do a book Bible, a series Bible, which we'll talk about in an episode later, you can just print them out and put them in that book Bible. You can just write them in a word processor. I believe that Scrivener, if you use Scrivener, I believe they have a notes section as well. I use Scrivener only for my outlines. I tried to learn it and decided for me, it works for a lot of people, but for me, it was productive procrastination. But I do use it for the note cards. I love their note cards. So you might check out that if you use Scrivener. I do believe there's a place where you can add pictures and notes. So, and there are a ton of YouTube videos on how to use Scrivener for that kind of stuff. So, but again, it's quick. So when I'm writing, I have two screens, and I usually have my manuscript right in front of me, and then I have my outline and my character sketches open on my second screen. And that way, if I forget, again, what color of eyes they have, which is usually the thing that I forget the most, I can just glance over and see. So it saves time. It's a time saver. And you're not going through in edits and fixing where you've had green eyes and then all of a sudden you switch to blue eyes. When we're out of quarantine, go people watching. I talked about that with story ideas. People watching. We are storytellers. We tell stories of people. And so we do need to study people, and just kind of look for those unique people and jot down in your notes why you find someone physically appealing for a character. I have been known to go up to random strangers and ask if I can take a picture. And I explain that I'm a writer and that I feel like their looks would be good for a character. I always give them a business card so that they don't, I'm a total flake. I haven't had anybody turn me down yet. Most of the time, they're just kind of like, really, me? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you. And so, and they probably forget that I even took their picture by the time the book comes out, because writing a book is such a long process. But yeah, I've taken pictures of total strangers, and most of the time it's gone over well. You can go in spy mode and like take a secret pic, but don't post it. Don't post it online. That's just rude. I mean, you're skirting rude anyway by taking a secret picture of them. I really don't recommend that, because if you get caught, it's like super awkward. And again, the pictures don't really come out very clear. And so I guess if you just really don't want, that whole thing is too uncomfortable, but you want their image, but you don't want to go talk to them, I guess you could snap a secret pic, but don't get caught, because talk about a confrontation. Or I guess you could just explain that you're a writer and quirky, because aren't we all? And then, of course, once you have your characters' personalities and their characteristics, you need a name. And the name has to fit the setting and the person. Okay, you cannot just throw any name out there. You should probably not have a character's name be Taylor in a medieval piece. That just doesn't fit the time period. You would need more of a name like Genevieve or Juliet or something like that. So do your research. I Google the year that my character would have been born and see what the top 100 names are. That's not saying you have to go with those names, but that gives me a really good baseline on if I'm too far off with the name that I want to use. So don't feel like you have to stick to that list. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying kind of use it as a baseline to know that you're in kind of the right frame. I also have been known to use a phone book. And I know some of you are like, what's a phone book? Yeah, they're pretty obsolete now. I keep telling my phone company to stop sending them, because we just use the internet for all of this now. But they tell me that because I'm out of town, that they can't not give me one. I just don't understand that. I'm all like, save the paper. But anyway, a phone book, white pages, all the names. In the past, I've randomly just kind of swooped through and opened to a random page and then kind of scrolled through the names to see if anything catches my eye. One of the best resources I use now is a baby name book. I've had this one for about 8 years now. The added benefit of using a baby name book is it tells you what each name means. And so I can, if I'm really looking for a name that has a meaning, then I can do that. And I also, I highlight the names that I've already used so that I don't use them again, because I write a lot. I have also printed out a list of common surnames, because I'm really bad at last names. And when I pick a first name, then I just go through and I kind of read it off with last names and see which one sounds the best. I'm usually not a stickler on last names. And then again, I highlight those so I know which ones I've already used. That just keeps me from having to look back. And I have been known to name characters the same names before, because I really like names. Like I had a novella with Emberlyn, and then I went and looked at a book I was writing and had my my heroine name was Ember. And I was like, well, I can't have Ember and Emberlyn. That's too close. And they were two totally different books. So baby name book, it's good for keeping track, and it's good for knowing what the name means. You can make up your own name. There's nothing wrong with that. You can put two different names together. You can put different sounds together. My only advice here is to make it pronounceable, so that when your narrator is reading it for your audiobook, they know how to say it and it's not too confusing. I mean, who here, besides myself, read the entire Harry Potter series, and I know that I said the name Hermione wrong in my head. I know I did. I couldn't tell you what I said now in my head, because now I know it's Hermione, so I can't think of it as any other way. But, and I'm not saying don't use a name like Hermione, just make sure that it's pronounceable so that the world knows with you what this character's name is. Write down names that catch your attention. At my kids' school, they used to do birthdays on Mondays, and I would listen to the names of the kids that were having birthdays or half birthdays that week, and then they got sung happy birthday to, which was really cool, I thought. So any name that caught my attention there, I would definitely write down. I like to walk through cemeteries. I don't find them creepy or scary or anything. I don't go to them at night because I have a very overactive imagination. And if I go to a cemetery at night, my brain is going to make me see a ghost regardless. Could be the most sweet, subtle, non-haunted place in the world. And if I think it's haunted, my brain will make it haunted. So that's why haunted hotels are haunted, you guys, because your brain makes them haunted. Or maybe there's ghosts. I don't know. I've seen a ghost once. Tell that story another time. Anyway, so write down names that catch your attention. Cemetery, that's what I was going with. My parents own this little farm up in Oklahoma, and there's a small cemetery nearby. And I was taking care of the animals one day. Went out to the cemetery just to walk around and saw the name Dovey. And I instantly knew that that was going to be the name of my main character in Quail Crossings. And Dovey Grant, she couldn't be anything else. She is Dovey through and through. I absolutely love naming characters. It's like having hundreds of babies without the side effect of pregnancy or having to raise them or send them to college. And I don't have to worry about horrible nicknames they might get at school. You know, that was always a factor when we were naming our kids. Like, okay, are they going to have some weird nickname? Is it going to rhyme funny? In fact, I remember one day I was at the school helping with Annalie's class, and I called her Annalie Bananalie, and then her whole class laughed. I thought, oh gosh, did I just start something? I said it with love. I've always said that to her with love. I was like, oh my gosh, did I just start something? Thankfully, I did not. But you might need a character that has a name that can have a bad nickname attached to it. I don't judge because it really doesn't matter when it's a book character. You're not trying to set this person up for a professional name later in life. Makes me feel really sorry for those kids named Apple, Coco, and Northwest. You know what? It's just a really good thing to have connections. That's all I got to say. Okay, so those are some ways to make your characters three-dimensional. I hope that has been super helpful. And now it is time for our moment of Jen. And I actually had a lot of Danny Weathers says haunted hotels are real. You know what? They are absolutely 110% real, real, real. They are all haunted. They're all spooky. And you will definitely see a ghost if you believe that. All right. I really had a problem with my moment of Jen this week. It has been a year of a week. And I think most of y'all know what I mean by that. I had a friend of mine say that she was on the struggle bus. And I have been on the struggle bus. I feel you. And so I thought about talking about the fact that I thought I was actually going to have to go grocery shopping like inside the store this week. And I had a little panic attack about that on Sunday. They changed up the way that they were doing the pickup spots, and I thought they were all full. And I was just like, okay. And then, I had to remind myself that I've been really, really lucky to have gotten spots. And that everything will be okay. And I have a mask, and, that it'll be all right. I just, we have to have milk and produce. I have kids. They're growing kids. So, but then I was like, you know what? People are really probably tired of hearing COVID-19 stuff all the time. And I'm not saying don't share your fears, your hopes, your concerns, and whatnot. As I was saying last week, we're pack animals. We want to know that we're not alone. We want to know that our thoughts are valid. I don't not share those just because I thought, I'm going to take a step back from that this week. But I do want to talk about things that will not change. No matter if there's a pandemic or other life event, there is one thing that will never change, and that is the defiance of children. There might be a pandemic outside, but there is a full-on mutiny inside this house, let me tell you. My oldest child is 8, and my youngest is 1.5 years. So let's start with Baby Bear. He is, like every toddler, and I'm saving this with love, a very selfish human being. Toddlers don't understand. They don't understand empathy or sharing or why they can't have another bite of ice cream or why they can't pour that oatmeal on top of their heads. They don't understand that. They want it now. That's the toddler frame of mind. He wants things, he wants them, and if he doesn't get them, he screams like a pterodactyl. A pterodactyl, folks. I am not even exaggerating. If he doesn't get what he wants, it's full on scream. If he gets what he wants, it's full on scream. The boy is just a screamer right now, let me tell you. So, of course, do we let him have everything he wants? No, we let him scream like a pterodactyl because eating chapstick is bad. Because letting him go willy-nilly with the remote until he turns on the German subtitles and then throws the remote in a cup of water is bad. Because letting him get a hold of Mom, I'm sorry, my hair's all over my place again. Letting him get a hold of Mama's glorious, glorious coffee and pouring said glorious coffee all over the game console would be bad. Not would be. It's bad. It's bad because it's happened. It's happened. That's how I know these things. Now that I've learned, and now that he's not allowed to do those things, he screams. He screams. That is his mutiny. This is a mutiny I can understand, though. Everything is curious and new, and buttons are fun, and screaming is his way of expressing his frustration. Trust me, kid. I get it, especially the screaming part. Which brings me to mutiny number 2. Not that I've been screaming. My daughter is, how do I put this? She's a lot like her mother. And do I mean charismatic and apparently unable to speak, charismatic and humorous and loving? She is those things. That's not the thing I'm talking about today. This mutiny is about her displaying my worst qualities. She doesn't like to do chores. Duh, just look at my desk. She doesn't like to be told what to do. Me neither. And she really doesn't like change. Yeah. If I give her reading homework, she's mad because she wants to do art. If I give her an art project, she's mad because she wants to read. If I tell her to clean the cat boxes, she proclaims they are not her cats. If I kick a cat out of my room, not literally, then she's like, why are you being so mean to the cats? I cannot win. Dessert for dinner, she wants broccoli. I tell her to go play, she's too old. I tell her to donate her toys, but she wants to go play. I cannot win. I cannot win. So you might be wondering, where is this rant going? Nowhere. It's going absolutely nowhere. I feel like I just need to let the outside world know that it's not okay up in here. We are struggling, and that is okay. I love my children. I love my husband, but I am ready to send them back off to work and to school. I am ready to have my coveted writing time back. I used to have 12 blissful, quiet hours a week. Now I have 0. I'm ready for the quiet. I am ready for the blissful, blissful quiet. And maybe I'm talking about this because I want other parents to know they're not alone. There was a flow chart that was going around Facebook, and I shared it, so go look at it. And it basically said, are you doing this stuff? No, that's okay. You're doing great. Don't worry about it. It's really hard to get on Facebook and see all these people who have organized their entire houses. They've done all the crafts. They've made all the masks. I tried to make masks yesterday, literally brought me to tears. I was just like, why can't I sew a rectangle? Why can't I sew a rectangle? I don't know, but got way frustrated with that. I had to put it away. Thankfully, we have a couple of masks, so we're all right. But yeah, trying to make a mask on top of the mutiny that I had to deal with yesterday and today too, for being honest. Yeah, it was just a little much. It was a little much, and that's okay. It's okay to get frustrated, and it's okay to be like, children, I love you, but you really need to go to school. It's okay not to be on top of the homeschooling thing. It's okay. They're going to be fine, and you're going to be fine, and we're all going to be fine. Oh, I know. So, yes, I was feeling frustrated that there's more chores to do than ever, that I can't do what I want when I want to, and that everything has changed. Does it sound familiar? The little girl in the living room, baby? Yeah. Told you she was just like me. But don't worry, I'm not starting a mutiny. I'm going to stay safe at home. I even nabbed one of those coveted spots at Walmart so I can just pick up my groceries without having to talk to anybody. And honestly, I have asthma, so that always is in the back of my head, even though it's really well contained. You know, I really am conscious of this whole thing. And even though I feel like if I got it, I would probably get over it, I don't want it. It doesn't sound like fun. And my heart just breaks every day for those people who have lost their loved ones. I just can't even go there. So I'm not starting a mutiny. I'm staying home unless I have to go out and get the milk. Because I know the fastest way to get everything closer to the old normal is to stay home. So that's it for me. I went over my time. Of course, I went over my time. I was ranting. But I hope I've given you some tips to make really great three-dimensional characters and to know that if you're feeling frustrated and that you're not on top of it like everyone else on Facebook seems to be, it's okay. It's all right. As long as your kids are safe and you're getting food. And if you're not getting food, please look at the resources. There are a ton of them. If you need my help, I will try to help you find them. I don't know any right offhand, but I do know that there are resources out there. So if you need help, contact me and we'll work through it together. You're not alone. We're all frustrated. You don't have to love your kids. You don't have to show your kids that you love them to death every second minute. Sometimes you're going to get frustrated with them. Sometimes you can love them and not like them very much, and that's okay because we're all human and it's okay to be human. And I think sometimes we forget that when we're seeing everybody post the best parts of their day on social media. So if you're feeling these frustrations, if you're feeling inadequate, if you're feeling hungry, and you really want to tell a story, write that stuff down because you can use it later. And again, if you really need food, talk to me and we'll see what we can do, okay? I don't want anybody going hungry. All right. Remember, your stories matter because you matter. Until next week, take care and happy writing.